Hello there friends and welcome! For today's Pathfinder guide, we are going to cover one of the latest biggest patches, 2.3.0BB, which came with the new DLC A Dance of Masks, but of course as a free patch, the changes will work regardless of you having the DLC or not. And we do have some pretty big news. I decided to split this guide in two parts, so first I want to cover all of the new relevant pet changes, as most pets have been buffed with new and powerful abilities. So let us dive right into that. So let's start with my favorites of them all, the dog and the wolf. The dog was actually renamed Riding Dog, and has the new Good Boy ability. Whenever it trips the enemy, and you get to do that for free, right, because its bite attack has innate trip, and later, just like the wolf, you can give it more bite attacks for more trips, but anyways, when you knock the enemy down, they'll take a -2 penalty to AC for 1 round, and at level 7, it will even increase to -4. It is definitely a powerful ability because remember, by default, a tripped enemy already has -4 AC against melee attacks for all party members. Now they'll have a -8 even when the dog reaches level 7. It's definitely a tremendous boost to what was already one of the strongest pets, because of how good free trip is. Now what about the wolf? The wolf has always been close enough to the dog stats wise, also abilities, and now it has Stare Down. It will gain a +2 bonus on damage rolls against knocked down enemies, and at level 7 it will scale to +4. As for which one is better, well, the dog's Good Boy I find is better overall, because penalties to AC are very welcome and quite rare in this game. Bonuses to damage, on the other hand, are quite common through abilities, spells and so on. Now the only downside, not really a downside, but it's just that when you trip the enemy is already marked for death, so you could say these extra abilities are kinda win more abilities, if you know what I mean, right? Because if the enemy is knocked down, chances are they would die anyways. And if they get up and don't just die outright, they'll proc attacks of opportunity from nearby allies. That's free attacks, so they'll just explode anyways upon getting up. But overall, the new Riding Dog wins here. What about the other pets? First we have the Raptor Dinosaur Companion. It has the Agile Movement feature, which lets it move to threatened areas without provoking attacks of opportunity. Kinda poor, I'm afraid. It's not really that useful. The Triceratops, the other dinosaur companion, has Rider Protection. When you ride it, you'll gain a +2 bonus to AC, quite welcome. Although, in mounted combat, enemies 99% of the time will target the Triceratops instead of the Rider, so not really that amazing. Triceratops' charge, however, is quite good. When it charges at the enemy with its core attack, it will do double damage. Charging by itself is very powerful, especially when you get to stack damage on top of it. Just remember, because the Triceratops does not have the Pounce feature, which for example the Raptor does, this lets you charge in full attack instead of being limited to just one attack. Ideally, you want to have the Triceratops with a SKALD party member, so it gets Pounce for free. What about the ever so powerful Smilodon with its innate 5 attacks even at level 1? Well, I'm afraid this is actually the only pet that got nerfed in the patch, because now it only has 3 attacks instead of 5. It does get the Pounce and Rake ability at level 7, which is kinda what lets it get 2 extra attacks, but it is nowhere near as good as having 5 attacks by default. I mean, I get why they changed this, because this is how the pet is actually supposed to work in tabletop, but having 5 attacks for free is way better than needing to first grapple the enemy, and then if it succeeds on that, is when you finally get the extra attacks. Poor Smilodon. Monitor Lizard has Lizard Rush. It gains a +2 attack bonus from attacks made as a part of a charge, increasing to +4 at level 7. And also has the Grabber ability on its bite attacks now. Grabber can have its uses as a form of crowd control, but it's not as powerful as Strip for free, like the dog and the wolf. Also remember, because the lizard does not have Pounce for free, well, it's the same as a Triceratops. Go with a SKALD if you want to charge with it for maximum damage potential. I don't think Mastodon got any changes, as by default it always had Trample and Overrun. Now let's cover the Leopard. The Leopard has always been the best early game pet until around level 7, and it's definitely still the pet with the highest AC potential, especially for early game on, let's say, Unfair. You can easily get higher than 30 AC, even at the very low levels, even at the very beginning of the game. What this means is it's always been great, it's even better now because of its sneak attack for free. It will now get 1d6 sneak dice at level 1, and later double that at level 4. It's not that powerful of a damage increase, but can help, because the Leopard already has multiple attacks, 3, and one of them even trips. So while it's not a dog and a wolf tripping on every attack, it's still a very solid, very powerful pet, and the best early game choice. Having extra sneak damage also helps because it doesn't have high strength, and most pet buffs increase strength instead of dexterity. I don't think there's any changes to the horse. You always got extra AC when riding it. I just can't recall if the hoof attacks became primary before. But this helps because it used to have annoying penalties to attack. Before the patch anyways. As far as the Centipede, it has been renamed as Hissing Centipede. Sadly, it still cannot be used as a mount, which is very disappointing, because it's one of the coolest pets for sure. And now, at level 7, it will get a special tail attack with the Trip feature for free. As we all know, Trip is very powerful, so it's a good welcome addition. Now let's go for the Elk, which has always been one of the best pets as well. It could always get decent damage when charging before because of its innate powerful charge ability. Has decent armor class, not as high as the Leopard but definitely higher than the Wolf and the Dog, and 3 attacks by default. Now, whenever it charges, it will get to trip the enemy for free, quite powerful. Once again, go with a SKALD because it does not have pounce. As far as the Boar, it has the Gore feature, which can bleed enemies whenever attacking it with a Gore. Bleed is not that useful, I'm afraid, because usually you just want to kill the enemy fast, and bleeding is kind of a damage over time effect. A very small one at that. What about the Bear? It now has its unique Bear Hug feature, as at level 7 it can grab the enemy with its claw attacks, and well, when grappling the enemy, it will deal extra damage. It's a cool looking and fun pet, it's just that it's not as good as the Dog, the Wolf, the Elk, the Leopard, but at least it's better than it was before. The other pets are just pellet swaps, so they still have the same stats. And that's it for the pet overview. As always, the pets that were already the best are even better now, so the Wolf, the Dog, the Leopard, and the Elk. And this was it for our new pet changes. I'll very soon release the second part of this guide, which is about the other mechanical changes in the newest patch. We have some new class abilities, some nerfs to one of the best items in the game and feat as well, and other nice changes. So stay tuned for more, and as always, if you found this guide useful, please remember to like, subscribe, and become a channel member if you can. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for watching and see you next time, friends.